The Pope weighed in on election 2024. That's right. Pope Francis has an opinion that he wants to get out there about the two candidates. And I don't know, man. I have a lot in common with the Pope in this respect. Not in most respects, but in this one, I can sign for what he says here.
Sono contro la vita, sia quello che butta via i migranti, sia quello che uccide i bambini.
Okay, well, it's not to nitpick there, but they both throw out migrants and they both kill children. So that's, I mean, I understand you're trying to do a both sides there, but actually it's even worse than you think. What do you call a pope? What, father? He's father, right? Is he chief father? Father Francis?
Patriarch? No, that's the Greek Orthodox.
Yeah, I think he's father. I mean, you call a priest father, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Right,
he's the number one
so
priest.
The
Holy Father. The Holy Father.
The Holy Father. The Holy Father. We'll start this over.
Ambedue sono
Holy
contro la
Father.
vita,
Holy Father. Yeah.
sia quello che butta via i migranti, sia quello che uccide i bambini. Nella morale politica, in genere si dice che non votare è brutto, non è buono, si deve votare e si deve scegliere il male minore.
Lesser evil.
Chi è
Oh,
il
you
male
had me.
minore?
You had me until
Quella
there,
signora
Holy
o
Father.
quel signore? Non so, ognuno in
That I
coscienza
agree with.
pensi e fa.
I love that. Who is the lesser evil? That woman? That man? I don't know.
Chi è il male minore? Quella signora o quel signore? Non so, ognuno.
Okay, we have to memorize how to say that in Italian.
I mean, it's very
Chi
close
amano
to a lot.
minore?
La signora o quel signore? Non so.
What's that?
No, it's close to Spanish.
Chi amano minore? Did I say it right? Who is the lesser evil? Chi amano minore?
Yeah, it would be in Spanish. It would be que menos, que es menos.
All right, chi amano minore. I like that. That's how I'm gonna. That's gonna be my catchphrase.
And it's no
season.
say in Spanish. It would be he says no so in Spanish. It would be no say. I don't know.
Ah, okay.
Chi è il male minore? Quella signora o quel signore? Non so, ognuno in coscienza pensi e faccia questo.
There you go. So Jake, for some reason your slideshow didn't load properly this time. I don't know. It was probably just a glitch. It's not your fault. Don't worry about it. But an estimated 52 million Americans, so that's 1 in 5 Americans, identify as Catholic. And according to Pew Research, 28% of those Catholics attend Mass on a weekly basis. So that's what, about 10 to 15 million people attend Mass every week. And the Catholic vote was always obviously heavily Democratic, but that's not true in recent years. So in 2020, the Catholic vote was pretty much split exactly, despite the fact that Joe Biden is only the second Catholic president ever. Biden won 50 to 49, so that's essentially a split vote. In 2022, Catholics voted 56 to 43 in favor of the Republicans. So, it was a Republican year, not as much as people thought it was going to be. But the Catholic vote used to be a heavily Democratic vote. Now it's essentially split 50-50. And he seems to reflect that here, saying, who's the lesser evil? I don't know. They're both against life. I thought that was a very interesting turn of phrase, because obviously in this address, didn't make the video, but he did go on to say abortion is still murder. We're still anti-abortion, but that's not what he's talking about in the context here, because he's saying they are both against life, saying, one of them mistreats migrants, obviously. And then what was the other one there? And one kills children. Yeah, that's a pretty damning indictment. Now, of course, the one that kills children, I'm assuming you're talking about abortion there. And yes. On the Republican side, you're talking about migrants. But don't forget, this is not what he was referencing in this speech, but he has called the Gaza genocide terrorism. I mean, he has condemned that pretty loudly, and both candidates support that. So a little bit of wisdom from Pope Francis there. who, one of the more based popes in recent memory.
He is. What really struck me listening to that and reading that. Okay, I don't. I mean, actually, I guess I can assume what his views are on whether the state should regulate abortion. So I'm going to assume we have a difference on that. He's not simply talking about the mortal sin of it, but it's up to you. I assume if
Right.
he could wave a magic wand, it would be illegal. So I don't agree with him on that. But it's the eternal dilemma for secular humanists. Um, the moral clarity that being a religious person gives you, it seems so much easier. Like you almost wish that you could have that kind of absolute guidance, because when you're secular, everything's negotiable, right? Like everything's a negotiation, everything's a debate, everything's a philosophical examination. I mean, there's existentialism, really. It's the need to create your own meanings and your own morals and your own precepts, and to take complete responsibility for all of that. I would say that idea has become very prevalent in our society, and we have a tendency to kick religion because we're in a secular age. But have we arrived at a superior morality in its absence? As I said, I don't agree with at least one side of what he's saying there, but the clarity of, if you throw out migrants, you're no Christian, which was also something he was quoted as saying in the article.
Right.
The there's no debate, no nothing, right? Jesus and the whole New Testament, Mary and Joseph were strangers, right, who needed a place to stay. So there's this ethos of, well, you must take people in. We just don't. If you're a secular humanist, or if you have a kind of vague quasi, I believe in God but not a religion, which probably where I am, that doesn't give you that. It doesn't give you that. Everything is something you have to really think about.
Yeah, and the thing I was a little surprised that he said was you have to vote. So you just vote for the lesser evil. Because you would think if you're coming at this from this like purely moral perspective, you would say that the option to not participate is on the table. No? Like why would you tell people you have to vote for the lesser evil, right? That seems to be, what's the phrase? Render unto God what is God, unto Caesar what is Caesar, right?
Right.
That seems to be telling people that, hey, it's okay to make some kind of moral compromise, right? Which is why he says picking the lesser evil, which in this context I obviously don't agree with. But I think it's pretty remarkable that in this context he is willing to say he doesn't know who the lesser evil is, because you would think, based on the abortion issue and their stance on that, lesser evil, he would always pick the pro-life side. But he obviously, and this is consistent with past statements that this Pope has made. He obviously sees it as more nuanced than that.
There's she's a Jewish lady named Jill Stein. Maybe you want to vote to Jill Stein.
Jill Stein, yeah. Yeah, that would be fun. That would be good. That'd be a good endorsement. Remember in 2016 when Bernie made some weird trip to the Vatican like days before the New York primary, and people were wondering if the Pope was going to endorse him? He didn't. He made some weird trip out of the country.
I don't even remember this.
Yeah. Yep. He was out of the country for like a few days, which was a weird choice because it was right before the New York primary. So you'd think he'd want to like maximize his presence on the ground, but he took a trip over there for a few days to speak at some event or something like that. But that was obviously same Pope.
Please clap.